An early warning system is implemented by a secondary school to use individual student data to generate indicators of on-track status for graduation, including attendance, behavior, and course performance. The goal is to find students that are falling behind and flag them as at risk for dropout. The process of using an early warning system arms districts and schools with data that they can use to make a difference within their school system and with individual students. An early warning system is developed to create a red flag system for dropout. We need to be concerned for the student, pay attention to what's going on for that student, and consider what can be done to better support them to be engaged in school. Students who are not attending school regularly, who are having behavior issues leading to suspension, are failing classes, or have a low GPA are not engaged in the school environment. This puts them at risk for leaving the academic environment prior to graduation. When using an early warning system with a multi-tier system of supports model, a team of school staff regularly look at the data to better understand the health of the school system. A healthy school with a positive school culture and highly engaged students will have a high percentage of students on track and engaged in the school. Additionally, the school staff use the data to identify struggling grade levels and subgroups to better implement target group interventions and to watch patterns in their data that happen from semester to semester or year to year. In this way, the team can consider proactive and preventative approaches to change trajectories and have more students on track for graduation. Recall that MTSS is a framework designed to provide educational equity for all students. High quality instruction, implementation with fidelity, and the use of data are all critical to an MTSS model. MTSS core components include using assessments for universal screening within a problem-solving model and to continuously monitor progress of the system and students. Additionally, an evidence-based curriculum, intervention, and intent supports should all be in place. Finally, fidelity of implementation, doing what we said we would do and doing it correctly, is essential. Trying to successfully implement MTSS without effective universal screening measures is like trying to drive somewhere new without any type of directions. I recently drove to the UP by myself for the first time since vacationing there as a child. Without my GPS plus backup printed directions, I likely would have ended up circling around aimlessly north of the bridge. Our screening data should function like our directions and GPS, and that this data needs to guide our implementation of MTSS at multiple levels. It's not the only data we look at to determine how to best support students, but it's an essential layer. Screening data tells us about the health of our overall system and how well our core instruction is working. Screening data also helps us to quickly and proactively identify students who need additional support to be successful. It should further help us to identify students who are significantly at risk and need intensive supports to get back on track. Our screening data should also tell us the story about how we're doing over time. These general features of universal screening measures are equally applicable at the elementary and secondary levels. However, there are some distinct differences about universal screening at the secondary level. General outcome measures that are typically used in earlier grades don't work as well at the high school level. While reading levels are still critical to student overall success, that information is not as helpful to all teachers, not as actionable by every department. However, data that are already being collected by the school can work extremely well as indicators that a student is at risk for dropping out of school. And this is an outcome that is important to teachers across content areas, families, and community members. Early in a student's high school career, we can predict with decent accuracy whether the student is on track for graduation or likely to drop out or take longer than 4 years to graduate. We can do this by using an early warning system. So far, the term systems has been used when discussing the early warnings or flags. The system is what each district or school will be working to develop. When a system is in place, that means that the school team has a way to organize and summarize indicators for dropout. The indicators are the foundation that help us to know what to pay attention to, but the system is what makes the work more efficient and therefore more effective. In addition to predicting students' likelihood of staying on track for graduation, early warning systems help us to measure the concept of student engagement. Early warning indicators, taken together, capture the components of engagement. Why the focus on engagement at the secondary level? Research, such as the work by Goss and Arden in 2014, has shown us that students who are engaged attend school, complete schoolwork, participate in co-curricular activities, and tend to pass their classes. We are setting up a system where indicators are pulled together to have an overall understanding of the engagement levels of students within a school system. The installation and implementation of an EWS is very different than how most MTSS data systems are developed. Typically, a student assessment is something that is developed and set up by an outside agency, vendor, or assessment company, and then a school system uses the developed materials and accompanying database to gather the data. With EWS, this works differently. Existing data is used that is currently housed right within the district's school information system, such as PowerSchool, Skyward, or MyStar. This takes out a major step of interfacing with students when gathering data. However, the system for summarizing data takes the effort and support of someone in the local district that works within the student information system. The specific early warning indicators can be remembered using the ABC mnemonic. Attendance records are highly predictive of whether a student will graduate on time. In the area of behavior, a variety of indicators can be used to monitor risk. Suspension, discipline referrals, and scores on the student risk screening scale are all possible options. MyBlissy recommends the use of suspension data because discipline referral data are already being monitored as schools use systems such as their ODR recording database or SWIS. GPA and course failures are critical indicators in the area of course proficiency. Good news, the indicators are all data that secondary schools already collect. The work comes in gathering the data and organizing it into an early warning system. To move implementation of an EWS forward, we ask that you continue to work through the information provided in this current module, and then move on to the companion module that deals with deepening knowledge in the installation of EWS. After the completion of these modules, you will be ready to attend a face-to-face meeting with MyBlissy, where we can support you to develop EWS and other supports to effectively begin using the EWIs for problem solving and planning.